On the build show today, tank versus tankless. You know, there's really 8 big lies out there about tankless water heaters. But before we get into those, I've got 4 compelling reasons why you probably want to make that switch from that big old tank. And the first one is space. That thing's a beast, and look how tiny these are hanging on the wall. Plus, you can put them on the outside of your house. If you're remodeling, you can easily get some space back. Number 2, efficiency. These are like 95% thermally efficient. A lot of tanks are like 60% efficient. So a big savings on efficiency. The biggest reason though when I talk about tankless is gotta be endless hot water, not running out of hot water. Who wants a cold shower? Nobody. When you've got a tankless, you're not gonna get a cold shower. And the fourth and the final reason, longevity. These guys are gonna get 2 decades plus service out of them. A lot of times after 10 years, you're replacing that tank. Today's build show all about the 8 lies of tankless, sponsored by Rinnai. Let's get going. Tankless doesn't work with cold inlet temperatures. Now this is a total lie. They've sold like 100,000 of these tankless units per year in Canada. And in the north, Canada, Michigan, all these places, we're talking about like 40-degree inlet water temperature. Let's do the math on this. This unit right here, 199,000 BTUs. If the water coming into the unit is 40 degrees and we've got 120 as our output, that's an 80-degree rise. We can actually get 5 gallons per minute out of one of these tankless units, which means I can actually run 3 showers simultaneously. Now, if you're like me, you're thinking, wait a minute, 3 showers, 5 gallons per minute. But we have to break that down. You know, when you take a shower, your shower head might be somewhere between 2 or maybe 2.5 gallons a minute, but you're not showering at 120. I shower at 105, which means that I'm only using maybe 1.7, 1.5 gallons a minute out of the tankless, and I'm tempering with some cold water whenever I shower. That's why I'm saying you could easily get 3 showers out of one of these, even with 40-degree inlet temperature. These don't work in cold temperatures, total lie. Tankless units are expensive and expensive to install. You know, the last couple years we've seen prices on tanks go up and up and up. And now you can actually get a non-condensing unit for the same or maybe even less price than a tank. And believe it or not, a good plumber who knows what he's doing, they can install these in basically the same amount of time as a standard tank. So the lie about these being expensive to buy and install, totally untrue. Venting is too expensive on tankless units. All right, let's break this down. Come check this out. Rinnai, for their non-condensing units, has this vent right here. This is a concentric vent, which is plastic on the outside and aluminum on the inside. Not a very expensive vent. And we can use that on all their non-condensing units. Even less expensive is this right here, PVC venting. This is a condensing unit where we can use 2-inch PVC to vent this to the outside. We can even take combustion air from the inside with this PVC. That is totally a lie that venting is too expensive. Scale in hard water is a problem for tankless water heaters. All right, think about this, guys. No, it doesn't matter what water heater you have, scale in hard water can be a problem. If you've got a tankless, you need to maintain it. If you've got a tank, you also need to maintain it. Now here's the hidden truth about tanks. I cut a bunch open a few years ago and was absolutely shocked at how disgusting they were on the inside. The scale had built up so it was a foot or more thick in the bottom of some tanks that weren't even a decade old. So whether you have tank or tankless, you've got to maintain it. You've got to do something about your hard water and scale. So tankless units are more prone to scale and hard water issues? Totally a lie. No matter what you install at your house, you've got to maintain it and you've got to deal with hard water and scale issues. Tankless water heaters are slow to respond to demand. All right, think about this. Doesn't matter what is making your hot water, it's the amount of cold water that's between this unit and your fixture that you're using that's going to dictate how long it takes to get hot water out of your faucet. Now, when it comes to tankless, Rinnai has several units that have built-in circulation pumps. That's a really big deal. But you know, I think this lie actually stems back to the 90s when I remember first learning about tankless and I heard people calling this category instant hot water heaters. I think people thought instant hot water like that thing that makes tea at your kitchen sink. That is not what's going on here. These work the same as a tank or tankless. It doesn't matter. They're making hot water. They're doing it in a remote location, and that water's got to get to your fixture. So if this is a problem for you, consider one of the Rinnai units that has a pump in it. Totally a lie that these don't get hot water quickly to your fixtures. Stainless steel heat exchangers are better. There's some manufacturers of tankless that only have stainless steel heat exchangers. And I always kind of thought that was interesting. You know, when I put wiring in my houses, I don't use stainless steel wiring, I use copper wiring, right? So how are they putting stainless steel in there? Well, the stainless steel is used most of the time by manufacturers in their condensing models, because when you condense that flue gas, there's some extra acidity, there's some other things that could really break down lesser metals. So if you look at the Rinnai and their condensing model, stainless steel, that makes sense. On the other hand, their models like this one that are non-condensing, the heat exchangers are copper, which totally makes sense for me. Copper is a much better conductor of heat. So Rinnai says, hey, when we manufacture it, we're going to use the right material for the right location. Totally a lie that you have to use stainless steel for your heat exchanger in your tankless water heater. Low gas pressure makes the installation of tankless unaffordable. Now here's where this lie stems from. If we had a tank here and we were pulling that tank out, replacing it with tankless, there's this lie, there's this myth that you'd always have to upgrade the line, the gas supply size. You're not going to necessarily have to do that, and here's why. On these condensing models like this Rinnai, here's your gas line coming in. And in combination between their technology on the regulator and the turbofan, they can actually draw the gas through the line. So in many cases, you won't need to upgrade your gas supply. Tankless is a new technology that hasn't been proven yet. All right, so here's the deal. Rinnai's been selling tankless water heaters in America since the 1990s, but for decades prior to that, they've been selling in Japan. And when I visited Japan in the 1990s, every house had tankless. This is a really proven, reliable technology. And that's why on these tankless units, you're seeing 2 decades plus of service, whereas most of the tanks out there are getting replaced in 10 to 15 years. Guys, big thanks to Rinnai for sponsoring today's video. I think these are a lot of myths by that old crew who's maybe not quite sure about this new technology, this newfangled stuff. But if you look into Rinnai's lineup, man, they've got some really, really cool products. And I think that there's a lot of solutions that can really make your customers happy. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the best thing about tankless, never running out of hot water. Guys, if you're not currently a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. We've got new content here every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, otherwise we'll see you next time on The Build Show.